All right, so here it is: Jurassic World Rebirth. Is there anything reborn? Is there anything that advances the story? Is there excitement, love? Have I been reinvigorated with a passion for Jurassic? No. So Jurassic World Rebirth stars Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, Rupert Friend, Jonathan Bailey, and basically it's about these four individuals. This pharmaceutical CEO who wants to aid in stopping heart disease from being a thing, reducing the amount of people who get it. And he believes that he can get it through the blood of three particular dinosaurs: the Mosasaurus, the Quetzalcoatlus, and Titanosaurus. Scarlett Johansson's character, she's a mercenary, she's a spy, and basically he recruits a scientist who doesn't really understand the expedition that they're going on. He kind of baits him into it because he's like, well, you never really touched a dinosaur in real life, so you can't really say that you're a scientist, really, or a paleontologist until you do, right? Ha ha ha. And Scarlett's like, well, I need all these extra zeros behind this, so she kind of cons him, and then they go find her other friend, being Mahershala Ali, who plays Duncan Kincaid, who um, basically falls in on the conmanship of it, and basically has the guy cough up some extra money, some zeros, so that they can actually go on this expedition. Now, um, during their journey, they meet a family who is out at sea having fun, and they capsize due to an incident with a certain sea dinosaur. And the family is recovered by the team, the squad, and they end up crash landing on the island because that giant sea dinosaur found them again. And that is where, that's your story. I mean, they get them up on the island, they have to find a way to survive and, get the dinosaur's blood that they need and then escape and get a chopper. And the family was just completely irrelevant, unimportant. It just, all of it is it's an insult. There's no other way for me to say it. It's an insult, and I want to dive into spoiler territory. But before I do, I'm going to keep kind of speaking broadly. Overall, I gave you the story. I thought the acting was. I mean, to me, the best actors in the movie were Mahershala's Duncan Kincaid and Jonathan Bailey's um, Dr. Henry Loomis. I thought they were the ones I felt most uh, attached to. I just feel like the script did not give Scarlett a lot to work with, and I'm kind of surprised because it was David Koepp, and David Koepp worked on the original. I believe the original three. I think, yeah, the original three. I was going to say the original two, but I'm pretty sure he did. He worked on all three of the originals, I believe. And Spielberg was the executive producer on this. It was Frank Marshall. So it's like, I don't know how they greenlit it. It's kind of disappointing. I'm okay with it not advancing the overall story. I'm okay with it kind of being a story within the overall story about a particular incident or a particular case with all these adventurers. I'm cool with that. Um, However, you didn't tell it in a great way. Um, I liked seeing all the other dinosaurs that we had in it that we finally were able to catch more action sequences with on the big screen. But it just left you wanting more. There was one that was just kind of like there. It's literally there and gone. That's it. That's it. And it's a major one too because we've seen them. Little smaller than velociraptors, big furrows, and If you know what they're called, you know what they're called. I know what they're called. I'm just not saying it. But so it was disappointing. So now I'm going to dive into the spoilers. So at 5:20, I will start. And here we go. So here's my like fuller thoughts, right? Because now I gotta dive into spoiler territory. The opening scene opens up with the the D-Rex, right? And I was looking at after I watched it, I kind of looked at Tyrone Magnus's review of it, and I couldn't find a description for how the opening scene was, but he was right on the nose with it. He said it was a Final Destination type of deal, where like this candy wrapper gets sucked into this machine, and it's like you follow that wrapper until it gets sucked in, and then the doors won't close when the scientists are in there working with the D-Rex. Now, this says that it was 17 years ago. I'm taking it as that means 17 years ago, as in 2008. Um, I don't know like where this is supposed to sit in the timeline. Then it's like 32 years later. So I'm thinking, not 32 years later, it says present day. But they say 32 years ago, which will be referencing the 1993 incident, and then forward that's 32 years to 2025. That's 32 years. So deal with the D-Rex. The rapper goes through the machine. Doors don't close. Everybody's panicking. The woman very much could. There's a guy that is literally on the edge of getting out, and he doesn't get out. And the woman is so terrified that she's paralyzed with fear. She doesn't let him out. She easily could have let him out, but she sat there and just stared at the Rex, starting to look in on this guy. Now, she could have opened the door. She really could have opened the door. She could have opened the door and closed it real quick. She could have opened the door. But the scene in itself wasn't as frightening as I was hoping for it to be. There was no like real buildup. There was no real tension to support like this is something we should worry about. Just like, for example, 93, right? In 93, you had the opening scene with the Raptors, right? The Raptor that, kills Jeffrey, right? And throughout that scene, you just kind of get the layout of what's going on. They're obviously bringing in something snarling. You hear it's, breathing, and you got Muldoon just kind of watching over the entire ordeal. Jeffrey's trying to open the gate, then it bolts out with full speed. Jeffrey falls, pulls him in, and you hear screaming, and it's just like, he's Muldoon, shoot! Shoot! And it's just, and then Jeffrey's like, and then, fun gunshots and all, pow, pow, and it fades out. So you have that whole sequence right there, and I'm like, okay, but they built up to that with the D-Rex, just like, oh, look at this, we're working on things for science. Oh, we want to torture this thing. We have these things called the mutadons, and we want to experiment what they can do, and yada yada yada. It's trash. The scariest thing is the fact that it's like, oh, I'm in this red smoke, and whoever lets me out, I'm going to eat them. Like, it's like it's not even scary. It's like I was hoping again. I wanted fear. I went into this thing again, and whoever saw the trailer reaction, you know how excited I was. See, the other thing too is I had to be really honest with you guys. After I saw I didn't get to do a recap, re-review of Dominion because when I first saw it, I was very, very much hyped and excited. But then after time went on, I didn't mention that I noticed that there were scenes that they were taking out when I first saw it. I noticed it, and I don't believe that I said it in the review. But then they released the extended cut, which had the extra 14 minutes, which is apparently a much better movie. So I haven't watched that one. But when Dominion came, it was like, no, this isn't it. I didn't even like Fallen Kingdom. The only world that I enjoyed was the first one. And I love the original 3. World was the only one that I liked, and the series that they have on Netflix, Chaos Theory and Camp Cretaceous. That's it. That's all I've liked. That's all that I love, truly. Okay, and so they can't pull from that because that kind of speaks in a certain vein of time. But I wish they would not compress themselves so much that there aren't stories within stories that they can tell. Like they very much can. So Rebirth is really just scenes from 1993, because I put a tweet out about this, from 1993, 1997, the novels, the original Jurassic Park and Lost World, Jaws 2, and or you could say that scene is also very akin to Lake Placid at the same time. So they pulled from all of that and just said, here you go. Let's restylize it and make a new movie. The Mutadons are supposed to be the Raptors of 93, right? They have the scene in the kitchen. The kitchen scene is done all over again. I mean, to the toe tap, down to a T. It's down to the freaking toe tap. They even have when Lex, but it's the little girl this time, pulling down. Well, actually, no. She was in a vending machine, like she was like hidden back, right? And the mirror and the reflection and all, but you can't see her. It sees himself. But it still kind of mimics the same idea that, then they escape and they go down a drain, and so they trick it, right? You have another scene where, and again, again, like they're sliding around in that same kitchen, the same exact way as they did in 93, because we don't have an original sequence anymore, unless it's the river raft scene, which again came from the book, which I was glad to see. It was a great scene. There's only one problem. That girl would not have survived that. And the fact that the Rex's teeth did not penetrate the raft, come on, guys. Like, honestly, I'm in Chaos Theory. There is a scene, there's a character named Kenji. His dad's is really not a nice guy, but he tries to do this one last thing for his son because, his dad was a tycoon too, right? They had the balls to have the Raptors pin his dad to the ground, skull on his head, like claws on his head and everything, and he tells Kenji to run. And as soon as he says it, they kill him right in front of him. Sorry to those who haven't seen Chaos There. You really got to watch Chaos There, and you really got to watch Camp Cretaceous. I'm telling you, you'll love it. Right in front of him. Right in front of him. Scarring whoever's watching. So I'm like, you have the balls to do this, but you won't go all the way with it. Even though I know they survived, all the people that they went up against, they did not. So it's like, again, plot armor on the girl. She should not have survived that. She wouldn't have survived that. I literally said in the theater, BS. I saw it with one of my friends. And you know what? She said that she heard from another friend of hers that it sucked. So I was like, you know what? I don't think it's going to suck. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be all right. Then they had the nerve to go with the Titanosaurus, right? They pull this scene from 97. They're going to the long grass. They're literally walking through a field, long grass, because we're nostalgic. Which I thought was like, all right. Oh, jeez, the camera's off. Hold on. Okay. It's the wrong camera. Oh my gosh. Please. I'm so upset. Like, this is ridiculous. Oh my gosh. Hold on, guys. Okay, sorry about that. Coming into the long grass scene, right? And Titanosaurus tail pops out, just like the Raptor's tails popped out in 97. You had the scene in Jaws or Lake Placid when the croc or the shark, whichever one you want to choose, is going towards the boat while the family capsized out in the middle of the ocean, who served no purpose to the story. The boyfriend should have been killed. I thought the dad should have died. He really should have, honestly, because he snapped his leg. He had a tib-fib fracture. You heard it break, and he walks through the rest of the movie like nothing even happened. Like all of a sudden, they just gave him a prosthetic leg, and like boom, here he is, just walking through a movie. He's walking into Memphis, walking in Memphis. Like, come on. What are you talking about? Walking on sunshine? What's wrong with you? Why would you guys do that? It doesn't even make sense. Then, So they're surrounded by the Spinosaurus, the Spinosaurus, and the freaking Mosasaurus, and the boyfriend falls out of the boat. He's trying to swim back because it's already capsized. It was a really cool shot with the Mosasaurus as a shadow. I thought it was amazing. And then it misses him completely. It just was like, I forget it. I'm not going to eat them yet. I mean, like, somebody said that dinos are scary again, and honestly, it wasn't any of that. Again, like yeah, and honestly, like in the movie, I was excited, I was into it, like some of the sequences, but it was like towards the end, I was like, they didn't really go there. The best scene, like quote unquote kill scene, the guy on the boat, it's like the blonde dude who's like the jerk towards the divers who just keeps shooting at everything because he can't stop. Yeah, he gets killed early on. I thought it would have been later on at least. No, he dies before they even get off the boat. Spinosaur kills him, tears him away. I was like, all right, cool. We got rid of that jerk. Nice. I just thought it would have happened later. It felt too early for his comeuppance. And then, you had later on the beach, to me, the best kill in the movie, because you had the Spinosaurus that was basically camouflaging itself on the island, kind of like how the Carnotaurs were camouflaging themselves in the Lost World book. So, and then, took out Gina, right? So I thought that was cool. Quetzalcoatl scene, all right. I'm not going to lie. That was pretty all right. It was pretty decent. Actually seeing this bird do what it does, I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic. Yeah. Oh, and then they had the severed arm thing, kind of like Mr. Arnold, Sam Jackson in the original '93. After the CEO, he's killed. But to me, it's just like there's no original tales anymore. There's no original thoughts about this. Like, how can we expand the story? How can we tell an Elseworld story? Really, what needs to happen? A friend of mine, we were talking about this. I was thinking a reboot, rated R. I mean, like balls to the wall, rated R. You already got the kids involved, right? Andy Muschietti wasn't afraid to do it on the big screen. And I'm not saying like, you haven't said no, but it's like when you have situations like this, chances are that's going to happen. And it's unfortunate, which builds into the horror and the fear of what these movies could be. Think about in the book. I mean, in the first book, there's a scene at Compies. This lady walks in. I believe she was the nurse. She walks in and sees a whole bunch of Compies. They eating the baby. I'm like, when I saw it, I was like, you shit, freak me out. There's a guy, young teen. I'm pretty sure there's a young man. They unexplainable gashes all over him. Raptor. Dennis Nedry's scene. They even redid Nedry's scene in the movie. The CEO basically pulled a Nedry. I mean, they even showed the sign to the T. Him pulling off to the docks. I'm getting away. I got this case. I don't know where to go. I crash. D-Rex catches him. He doing it. That thing had 3 minutes of screen time. So they build this whole thing up like, oh, it's going to be this big epic monster. Oh, I say, I only got 3 minutes of screen time. Could you give me a little bit more, please? More team crimpets, more human seed, more blood. Yeah. No. Like, what? Are you kidding me? Bro, listen. I would have liked to have seen if they had just stuck with the scientists and kept it like a real contained movie with the scientists being recruited to the island to help work on this research. That's a little different. I would have liked that. Because like at first it's a whole thing of, oh, let's show them the park and see what they think and yada yada. And then the next one it's like, oh, we got a rescue mission, which I thought was great. It's awesome. I loved it. Then you have another one that's a search and rescue. And then you go into the world where the park actually works, and now you've got this thing where people are being so like those are okay. As much as I didn't like Fallen Kingdom or Dominion, at least they try to advance it. Okay. So you can have all the scientists recruited to this island doing all kinds of crazy Frankenstein science, right? And things just go very wrong. You could show how the park was starting off and all the accidents that took place when it first started. Think about there was a movie that was shot in the 70s. It wasn't Born Free, it was something else. I forgot what it's called. Or in the 50s. But they had nothing but live wild animals. And it still got made, but there were a lot of accidents that took place. So they could have pulled like some inspiration from that story in itself and been like, oh yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. With the dinos. We haven't had an evil scientist in so long. Y'all wouldn't even know that Dr. Wu is as evil as he is if you didn't read the book or if you didn't see Camp Cretaceous. Because in the movies, they don't portray his evil side. So it would have been cool to see a more evil scientist that's up to nefarious things and his code and his moral code and his scientific ethics or his bioethics are called into question. Like, why are we doing this? You know? So again, like it's lacking. It's lacking. It's lacking. And I'm so I hate that I even have to say it, that I'm so upset about it, because I really was excited to see this. And again, in the trailer, that river raft scene had me like, okay, this looks like they're really gonna go for it. No, it dropped me like a tuna sandwich on a Tuesday morning. Alliteration. Yeah, that's what they did. They totally dropped me like a tuna sandwich on a Tuesday morning in the trash. That's what it was. And so I'm very much like, I don't know, most people, they're like, oh, I just want to see, dinosaurs. I don't want to just see that. That's fun. Great. But I want a great story at the same time. And I'm looking at you, Spielberg. I don't understand how you greenlit this. Like, the whole point is to make the dinos scary again. Like really terrifying again. And it's just not being recaptured. I say reboot it. Make it rated R. Have people's guts ripped out. Come on. Hands torn off. We got one hand torn off in this. More of that. Come on. And it's not even a thing, because people they'll be like, oh, what is this supposed to be, like Terrifier? No, it's not that. These are prehistoric creatures with claws and teeth that will tear you asunder. Do you mean to tell me? That you don't think showing that wouldn't? Come on. And I understand, because there's also the thing of, well, suspense is kind of leaving you on the edge of like not knowing, right? Which is why Nedry's scene in the 93 version was so terrifying. Because you didn't see it happen. That you heard it. You didn't see it. Now in the book, it's even scarier because it goes into so many details of what happens to him. Even Hammond's death. He broke his leg. And I believe he was killed by compies, and Wu was killed by raptors. So anyway, y'all get the point. You get the gist. I had to dive into it fully for y'all. So let me know what you think down below. I hope that you enjoyed the review. You see the movie, think about me. That's just my 2 cents from a heartbroken Jurassic fan to you. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Gotta figure some stuff out as far as some life stuff, school stuff, mainly school stuff. It's a lot more to discuss on another video, but anyways, I'll be doing a lot more shorts. Just letting y'all know. We're doing a lot more shorts recently. We're doing a lot more shorts in the future until I go back to long form. It's just financial things. So, anyways, guys, y'all take care. I love you all. Hope you enjoyed the review. If there's anything I missed and you saw the movie, comment below. Let me know. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care. Y'all gonna check me out at these here socials. I'll see you all in the next one. And by the way, make sure that you stay tuned for all types of content that I got going on at this here channel. Remember, one pack, one nation, one smooth hell.